My fellow Americans, how are you? A couple things, all right? I'm descended from the Eisenhower family line. I know that my fucking, Aryan appearance doesn't make me any better than anybody else. And I also know that when people are charged with a felony for fucking trying to solicit a minor, they shouldn't be allowed to go back to their country of origin, because that feels a little bit like special treatment when we, the people, if we get charged with a felony, aren't allowed to even skip the state. Okay. So I would just like it if everybody could come back to their collective sanity, because the MAGA party is definitely not the Republican Party. They are not the party of fiscal responsibility. This fucking administration's burning through their budget faster than ice cream melts in a fucking hot car in Florida. They are basically saying that they want to lower the age of consent to 14 and treat 14-year-olds like an adult. But I don't know about you. I don't trust a 14-year-old to drive a car. I don't trust a 14-year-old to fucking balance my goddamn financial budget. And I certainly don't trust a 14-year-old to go overseas in the military and fight for this fucking country. So I don't think we should be treating them like adults, because they are children. Okay. Also, I know that when I was 14 years old, I had a bunch of weird, creepy old men that were basically calling me jailbait. Okay. So I don't understand why we think that that's not where that's coming from. I would also like to understand why it is that our entire fucking government seems to want to hide these files that we all know exist. Okay. They have changed their story so many goddamn times, it's not even funny. So I don't understand why anybody believes anything that they say regarding these as well. I would like to understand why it is that we don't think a certain somebody wasn't his partner, right? When he was basically only mad at the guy for poaching talent. Okay. I would like to understand why it is that we are allowing our government to fucking breadcrumb us when we are the only thing that's fucking funding it. I would like to understand why it is that the top 1% owns a third of the monetary resources in this country, and probably more of the land and water and all the other fucking survival things that we need in order to fucking make an actual life on this planet. Which, the planet gives us food and water for free, but somebody put a fence around it and say they now own it. So now we have to pay for it. Okay. And I don't fucking understand that. I don't understand why people are walking around criminalizing homelessness as if it is somehow a fucking crime to want to live in the goddamn woods. Okay. And I don't understand why it is that we have people who are walking around claiming that they are the party of Jesus when atheists align more with Jesus's teachings today than fucking actual Christians, okay? Because they're walking around saying empathy is a sin, but I'm sorry, Jesus was the king of fucking wokeness, all right? So I would just like it if we could all just collectively come back to our sanity, okay? And maybe the Mandela effect, where we all just apparently fucking switched roles and switched thought processes, maybe we could, realize that was, a problem and go back to the way that things were, back in the fucking 90s, because Jesus Christ, what is happening outside right now? Why does it seem like our government is, just descending right into fascism on a bullet train? Why does it seem like we're taking a fucking page right out of another fucking handbook of a small-minded fucking regime, back in the fucking 1930s and 40s? I know that they aren't, technically gassing people yet, but work camps were a thing. Basic, police presence was not enough. They were saying that there was a ton of rampant crime, and then they basically used the military against their own citizens. And I know that it's not the same target, because these people are basically being targeted for walking around too brown, but they are doing the same thing that they did to the Jewish people when they basically said that they didn't deserve to be citizens anymore, and they reformed their ability to fucking be citizens. Okay, because that's happening, right? We're doing the same thing. We said that they legally immigrated here, and now we're saying that actually was not legitimate because it was done under a different administration and they're no longer legal. What the fuck is going on outside, okay? Because we are doing a lot of things that we should not be doing, and I think we need to go back to a time where we knew that Nazis were bad. I think we need to go back to a time where we were able to learn about slavery even though it made us feel bad. It's a fucking supposed to! It's supposed to make you feel bad. It was horrendous, all right? We also need to go back to, being able to talk about things without taking direct responsibility for things that we did not do. I know my ancestors did abhorrent things. I didn't, okay? I know that I did have probably privilege from the things that, they did, and I think that that's fucking horrific. And I know that I grew up as a drain on resources by this administration's definition in trailer parks and things like that, because it can happen to anyone, okay? No one's above that shit, even descendants from the Eisenhower family line of settlers, all right? So at this point, I would just like it if everybody could come back to their collective sanity, and I would like it if I could stop crashing out and eating carbs, because at this point, it's the only thing that makes me feel better. So read the book, Fuck the Guilt, Find the Balance, and let's do this shit. Let's start a fucking grassroots campaign. Let's get me in there so we can start the Nuremberg Trials 2.0, because I'm fucking over it. Anybody else?